here is my process for creating Trojan horse ads that make millions of dollars for my clients consistently for years. And I'm just going to show you how I do it and show you the key concepts and the frameworks that I like to follow. So if you want to make those ads yourself for your business, for your ads, for your VSL funnel, high ticket offer, I'm just going to show you now a few steps that I like to follow to make them consistently. So typically these are ads that people always stop on, they like, comment, share, and they buy, and only later on they realize that this was an ad. So if everyone can see your ad and they think it's an ad and they just scroll past, which is what happens to most people, which is why most people can't scale, because everyone just scrolls past their ads, then what you want to have is a Trojan horse ad. This is the one that makes them stop in their feed, click, comment, buy, opt in, book a call. So one of the main things that I like to look at, and this is actually a way we like to play with the AI algorithm in Facebook ads, is starting with the creative. Now we're getting into the copy as well and other things that we like to do, but let's just start with the creative. So creative, typically, especially when you're running ads in the feed, you want to have something that's like an image creative, right? Something that typically not video. Now video is just harder to do, but we do just fine with images, right? So most people tell you the video. I'm telling you, images are really good because we want something that you would naturally share. So imagine you go on Instagram, you have 200 followers, you're going to share a photo with your friends. That's the kind of photo we want to use in the ad, right? So when people are scrolling, like, oh, this is just someone sharing a normal post, right, with their friends. So what you want to do is probably look at some of the posts that you've made. Now you don't want to use any post, right? Because we still want it to convert, we still want it to be relevant, we still want to get conversions. So you want to look at some of your posts that could fit for your Trojan horse ad framework. So here are the few things you want to look for. Now, once again, by default, right, Trojan horse means other people are not doing it. It doesn't look like an ad. So if you make one, everyone copies you, then it becomes the new ad. Then by default, it stops working. So you always have to kind of be on top of it because every Trojan horse ad has like an expiration date. So look through your past photos. So typically you want to look through your past photos and you want to find ones where there's multiple people in the picture or you in the picture. Once again, something you would naturally share, like, you know, being out here outside, being on the beach or being with friends, eating some food. And one thing I always like to look for is something that triggers curiosity. So instead of just a picture where you're just smiling, you know, it's like you do something interesting where when they see the photo, it looks kind of, you know, it triggers their curiosity. It's like what is going on, right? It can't be so simple where it's just someone sitting down and looking at the photo. So one thing is what you want to have humans in, you want to have animals, if you can have even babies in as well, right? Like you want to have some life. Like you don't want like a picture of a dark room. That's not, no one's gonna, you don't share that with your friends, and it's not something that people like to engage in. We like to see friends, see families, see people that we like, which is typically going to be human beings, right? Adults, kids, babies, animals, outside, blue skies, right? Nature, greenery, also smiling. Like you don't want to be like angry in the picture. Like you want to be smiling, having a good time. But more importantly, it needs to trigger some kind of curiosity. So, you know, we just did one for a client recently where we had like and this one converted immediately. And once again, I went through his photos to pick one for him, and then we picked like 5 or 6 out of like hundreds of photos. So you got to be really picky. Like I said, you can't just pick any photo. It's got to like I said, trigger curiosity. So here's one. He had some otters. So yes, so he had like 2 otters in the photo, and it was him standing like in like a zoo kind of place, and he's looking at the camera smiling. He has this weird hat on. I don't know why he has a weird hat on, this like kind of suit thing, and he's touching these otters in the photo. So like it triggers like a few things, like why is he with the otters, right? Like it makes people stop, and it's something he actually shared it with his friends. That's why we went back through his photos. So those are the kind of photos you want to have, and there's many other ones. So maybe I'll put some examples in the comments. But one big thing I like to do as well is you can just make your own Trojan horse ads. So you already know what the framework is. Once again, you want to look through your camera roll, find ones that are taken typically outside or with good lighting, with other people, maybe with some animals in it, or any kind of life basically, because we don't want it to look because the AI will scan your picture. So we actually figured this out. So the AI, every picture you put into the ads manager, or even on Facebook, you can actually reverse engineer this and you can see what the AI sees. So the AI actually puts a description. It says blue skies, smiling person, happy, right? And when it sees those things, it actually boosts it a lot more. Versus if you're angry in a dark room with, maybe something crazy going on, then it's not going to want that. And it's all, so you want to have all these good features inside of the ad. So that's what I kind of like to look for. So instead of picking any image, I like to go for one that has all those features inside of it. So that's phase one. Now phase two is, like I said, what keywords come to your mind when you see that photo, right? Like, is it happy, smiling, outside, blue skies? And there's actually tools we can use to extract this information. So we actually have some tools that we use where we see what the AI sees, right? So we get the keywords out and we kind of look, okay, does it match what we expect? Because sometimes the blue sky is not good enough, right? Like, because you think I can see it, but I can't see it. Or it's not seeing you smiling properly. Literally, we had one where the guy, you can tell he's kind of smiling, but the AI thinks he's being a bit grumpy or something, right? So, and that's the keyword that comes out, which is not good, because the algorithm is not going to boost a post where the person is grumpy. Typically not, right? Like, that's not the favorable condition for it to be in. So now let's get into the phase two of creating a Trojan horse ad. Now this comes into the copy itself. So this is the ad copy, and what you want to do is you want to take your original copy and you want to kind of embed it within your Trojan horse ad copy. Now once again, you can make some crazy statements, right? You can say, oh, this is the latest. You can make any crazy statement to get people to stop the scroll. But we don't want that. We don't want anyone to stop the scroll. We want your target market to stop the scroll, and we want it to be relevant for them. So, because reality is, you can look at any news article and talk about, I don't know, the latest conflicts going on or something of that nature. But that's not something that we actually want, right? We want our target market to stop and scroll because they want to buy from you. So instead of having a hook be something that's direct response, which is fine, but for this one, we're creating a Trojan horse ad. Instead of it being a direct response of, oh, come work with me and I'm going to help you do this, this, and this, we instead want to lead with something that's kind of different but intriguing. So still gets the right person clicking, but they read it as more of a value piece, all right? So you want to start with some insight. So let's say some insight, some news, some very relevant news that your target person will still want to read, a specific insight, right? A specific way of doing things, or a specific story. Now, story is a big one, all right? So this is where it ties back to the phase one of the Trojan horse ad, which is the images, right? Let's say you like to meet your clients, or you meet up with friends, you meet up with other business owners in restaurants or whatever. You want to make sure to actually capture those photos over there, right? So instead of wasting the opportunities, right, just get some photos taken and make it look interesting, right? So those are ads that can work very, very well. So inside the copy itself, like I said, a story one is good. So you're telling a story, right? And then the headline as well. The headline cannot be, come buy my ebook or whatever, download my PDF or whatever. It needs to be about the story, which is once again very relevant to your target market. And then within there, you want to start it off, there's lots of value, and then you want to make a transition. So the transition is where you start slowly making your pitch, all right? And like I said, you want to write in a way where they still read to the end, so you don't want to go into a hard pitch. So you don't want to start with a story and be like, all right, now buy my stuff, right? So it needs to be like a smooth transition. And you'll be surprised because these ads will get the most reach, the lowest CPMs, the highest click-through rates. And if you lead with relevant value, with relevant insight, or a relevant mental model, you actually get better leads coming in, right? So let's say you're a health coach. This is just a pure example. And you're targeting people that need to lose weight. Instead of, oh, here come and lose weight, you can start with, here's one mental hack, or here's one insight about how to reframe your mind, or here is one of the reasons why you can get paid a triple salary when you're in a healthier body shape, right? So it becomes more interesting. It becomes more about they can get a better job or whatever. So you can lead with that, and once you get to halfway through the copy, you can transition into why losing weight is very important, right? By first starting out with a good outcome, with a good story, or some kind of insight, all right? Instead of always leading with the same thing, because everyone's heard about losing weight, but you want to get specific with a unique story, unique insight to kind of do that. So creating a Trojan horse ad is not the easiest thing, but it's not the hardest thing either. Like I said, it needs to look natural, but it also needs to achieve the outcome of getting clients, right? Because we can always create an ad that'll get people to stop and stop scrolling, right? You can use the latest news article or whatever, some viral news. But what you really want is to have them also convert onto the back end. So those are two phases that I like to look at for creating these, like what I like to call the Trojan horse ad. And yeah, maybe we'll make some more videos. I'll probably post some examples. If you want to know more about it, we can post some examples down below. But for now, that's all there is. If you have any questions, let me know, and I'll see you soon.